Hello everyone, Joe here again, back with another vlog. And if you just watched the last one, welcome in. And if you're new to the channel, hi, how you doing? Think about liking and subscribing. There's a lot of stuff coming that might be interesting. And everyone else who's returning viewers and you finally want to know what on earth is going on, you are not going to know what to do with what I'm about to tell you. It is complicated, it is involved, and it has blown my mind. So, I guess we'll get into it, shall we, and talk about it. So, as you guys know, I have the gallbladder problem sorted out now. I don't have a gallbladder, that's all sorted, surgery done, I'm recovering from the surgery. Now during that time I was having genetic testing done at the Royal Marsden on my neck dissection sample that was taken out kind of over 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And during that time, obviously I've been, those 2 and a bit years, I have been living with anaplastic thyroid cancer. And I've been undergoing treatment for it. I've had chemotherapy, I've been on lenvatinib, so TKI, and due to progression of the disease and growth, we've started to look at other options of what we can do in order to look at other treatments. One of the treatments that we're looking at is radiotherapy. I'll talk about that again in a bit because that's important. And also we're looking at in particular the genomic medicine, so we're looking at which particular mutations I might have, whether I've got the RET mutation. We want to check for BRAF. People that have who have experience with anaplastic thyroid cancer or advanced cancers of the thyroid will know a bit about that already. Now during that time they've taken there's a bit of a mess up, unfortunately, where the left lobe of my thyroid, where I originally was diagnosed with follicular thyroid cancer, was sent off to the Royal Marsden, and they did the testing on that because that's the sample they received. That was the wrong sample. It was supposed to have been from the left side neck dissection, which I've got this wicked scar from. It was supposed to be that sample. It wasn't done. But anyway, they confirmed that was follicular thyroid cancer and there were no mutations present. Now, we're waiting on the full molecular testing to come back on the neck dissection sample. But whilst the neck dissection sample was being looked at, the pathologist has turned around and said, this is not anaplastic thyroid cancer. This is poorly differentiated thyroid cancer. So, I don't have anaplastic thyroid cancer. And for the last 2.5 years, I have been living thinking that I have had anaplastic thyroid cancer, and we have been treating me as if I've had anaplastic thyroid cancer. And I have done all of my research on anaplastic thyroid cancer. I have poorly differentiated thyroid cancer, which was a massive shock, because I don't really know what to do with the information apart from try and understand it and get my head around it. So, poorly differentiated thyroid cancer is where you have had what is initially a thyroid cancer, such as follicular thyroid cancer like me, and the cells have mutated and they've become poorly differentiated, which means they start to lose some of the characteristics that would identify them as follicular thyroid cancer, but there's still enough in there that you can look at it and be like, okay, I think we know roughly what this is, we know where it's come from, and it's also a stepping stone mutation stage for anaplastic thyroid cancer. So you kind of start off with a differentiated thyroid cancer, and that could be papillary, medullary, or follicular, and that can then mutate into poorly differentiated thyroid cancer and can further mutate into anaplastic. Alternatively, you start off with one of those main ones, then it turns into poorly differentiated, and it just stops, and that's where it sits as poorly differentiated. Now, how does poorly differentiated thyroid cancer compare to anaplastic thyroid cancer? Well, the good news is it's not as aggressive, which would kind of explain how I have gone this long whilst being diagnosed with something which typically takes care of you in 3 to 6 months, and I am still here. The difference for scale-wise is about tenfold. So you are looking between maybe 50 to 60 months as the average survival time from diagnosis with poorly differentiated thyroid cancer advanced stage. Now, these rough estimates of life expectancy are actually very much based on old data, because the speed at which medicine is advancing now, especially genomic medicine, which I've mentioned previously, things like your lenvatinib, cabozantinib, and your other inhibitors are extending people's life massively. Like to the point where it's worth having. It's like it's worth putting up with the side effects in order to live that long. Now, this is going to be complicated, isn't it? Because obviously I've been talking about having anaplastic for a very long time. Now, there's going to be some people out there who are going to say, oh, what, so you're a liar? Well, no, I'm not a liar. I was told one thing, I believed it, I've got on letters, I ran with it, I trusted doctors and I moved forward, and we made all of our decisions based on the information that was available. And obviously I've spoken about it and I've done my research, and I have attempted to be an advocate for those who have anaplastic thyroid cancer, and some people who I have been an inspiration to, because you say it in the comments section and it does make me feel awkward. But I'm sorry, really. I'm sorry that may not be the case anymore. And I'm hoping that it doesn't take away from the fact that this journey that I have been on, I have shared, and I've shared my experiences. The journey itself has obviously taken an unexpected turn, and because of that we have got some other things that we have to consider and look at and think about. Does it open up my treatment options? Possibly, maybe. It doesn't hugely change what we're about to do now, which I mentioned radiotherapy earlier. I'm actually starting radiotherapy in 2 days. So today is Wednesday the 30th of June. I'm starting on the 2nd of July, having my first session. I'm having 5 sessions, and they are all mainly focused in my largest right lung metastasis. Metastasis, yeah. So I've got a tumour that is about here, about there, and midway in, and it's currently to the size of it's about 4 centimeters across. In the longest dimension, 4 centimeters across, like the size of a small leg, really. And that is, I can't remember, hilum. I think hilum was the term used. And it is located just where, like, it's not, I thought it was down low. That's honestly where I thought it was. Turns out it wasn't. But yeah, it's located like centrally in, and you know where your trachea comes down, splits into your bronchus. It's located just there, so it's like there. So what that means is that could potentially start giving me a cough, and I can start to feel some discomfort because of it. So that's why we're going with radiotherapy. It's growing pretty fast. It has grown faster than we would like it to. Like, it's grown 28% in the last 6 months, which is fast. That's since November, so that's fast. So the idea of the radiotherapy is not to destroy it completely, but to slow it down and try and reduce the speed of growth. I still can't believe I don't have anaplastic thyroid cancer. I have been banging on about this and sharing my experiences with everyone who'll listen, and I'm like, cool, guess I'm a fraud. And I've had this moment, and my wife's already said to me, I'm not a fraud, because I've still been through everything. I've still been through chemotherapy. I've still spent 1.5 years on lenvatinib. I've had the surgery. I've had all these experiences, and I've dealt with the raw emotions that go along with it. And that's a very interesting thing, that to suddenly have, it's not relief as such, but maybe some pressure lifted in a way. But also it's more of a pressure being kind of lifted from you having dealt with something so strongly, and you've been fighting a fight for so long to find out that wasn't the fight you were fighting at all. And yeah, I mean, the fight still had to happen, and maybe I wouldn't have been the way I am about it because it's something different. It's still not good, but someone says months to you, it changes your mindset, completely changes your mindset. And now we're at a point where actually I never had months, I had longer. Would that have changed what I did? I don't know. Now that's something I have to get my head around. Very, very, very strange. And I don't know what to do with it, really. I'm going to do my damnedest best. I'm going to continue to share what I'm going through with everyone. But yep, radiotherapy. 5 sessions, starting on the 2nd of July, and it'll be done by... Well, they don't do it the weekend, so it'll be done by the 9th. That's it, it'll be done. Have to go into London for that, go into the Royal Marsden, and we get zapped. And then we see what happens. We have a scan, and we hopefully show that the progression's slowed. In the meantime, we're hoping that we can get me onto cabozantinib, which is a TKI that has shown very promising results on advanced thyroid cancer that doesn't respond to radioactive iodine. And that's kind of where I am. That's where I'm sat still. And so we're hoping to get onto that. And if we can get onto that, then that should help. That should be good. But it's not funded on the NHS for use in my scenario, so we're having to apply for compassionate use, which isn't guaranteed. Wish it was. Be good, wouldn't it? So we have to wait and see. But in the meantime, we're going to do the radiotherapy and go from there. I'm also still on the lenvatinib, which is a bit rough because I'm on something that I don't know if it's working or not still. I mean, it obviously must be doing something, holding some of it back, but it's not perfect, which is why I'm here. So we have to wait and see. Anyway, that's all the really confusing crap stuff out of the way. Here's the exciting stuff, though. So those that have been following for a while may remember that I've done a lot of fundraising for the British Thyroid Foundation. It is with great pleasure that we can talk about now that the Joe Plater Research Award from the British Thyroid Foundation has found a successful winner who this £20,000 research grant is going towards, and that is Professor Christopher McCabe at the University of Birmingham, and he is looking into the possibility of using drugs to be able to resensitize non-radioactive iodine responsive thyroid cancer. So hopefully the idea is that through drug therapies they'll be able to find a way to take thyroid cancer that doesn't respond to radioactive iodine, which, like me, like what I've got, and to be able to make that so it can then respond to it, and radioactive iodine can be provided as a curative treatment. And that's typically what happens with thyroid cancer. As a lot of people go in, they have thyroid whipped out, have radioactive iodine, they're done, they're cured, and that's brilliant. Other people, like myself, who thyroid cancer stops responding to radioactive iodine, then have to go on to TKIs or MKIs, and they are never curative. They're designed very much to stop things in place and almost kind of treat it a bit like a chronic condition as opposed to something super life-threatening. You know, that's the idea. But with the idea of being able to then be able to reintroduce radioactive iodine and have that as a curative treatment for people, that's brilliant. It's about 40,000 people per year that die of thyroid cancer, and this would help loads of them. So I'm really super chuffed to have my name attached to that, and to have been able to provide funding for that. It's just mad, and I wouldn't be able to do it without my gaming community have had my back throughout everything. During those 3 24-hour live streams that we did, raising over £20,000 to be able to have something like this happen, and something like this, you just don't see it. You just don't see your money raised for a charity directly being used for research ever. So it's fantastic to be able to see that happen. But yeah, that's cool, that's good, we like that. That's the positive thing that I'm going to end on, I think. Now, radiotherapy, I don't know if I can film or take pictures and stuff. I could probably take pictures. What I will mention about the radiotherapy is that I have had a tattoo dot done about here in the middle of my chest for the laser targeting, so they zapped me. I'll probably talk more about the radiotherapy once I've had my first session. I'll know more about it and I'll be able to talk more about it. I'll probably take some photos in the room, the radiotherapy suite, at the Marsden, and I hope to be able to share that with everyone. But yeah, it's going to be interesting times ahead. what do I do now I don't have anaplastic thyroid cancer? I don't feel like it's worth celebrating having a different kind, is it? So we will see. But right, I'm going to call time for the video there. I've rambled, it's 50 minutes long, it's enough talking. So please make sure that you like, subscribe, leave a comment if you've made it this far. We're going to leave a very important, super important comment. I'm looking around my desk to see if I can find something. Multicoloured pen, right? Multicoloured pen, because I've got one on my desk. So just write that multicoloured pen in the comments section, and that way we know that you're a hardcore viewer and you've made it this far. It's our special little club. And people ask, why is everyone saying this? Now they won't know unless they watch this, and they should be writing multicoloured pen. But right, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching and listening to me babble on for another 15 minutes about my ridiculous life. I'll speak to you soon.